ready? Man to man, break.
It's high school football now. Presented by Fourth Down Magazine with Eric Epler and Andy Shay. Time for a look at Central PA football. Here are Eric Epler and Andy Shay.
All righty, welcome to another edition of High School Football Now. We are presented by Fourth Down Magazine. Only a few short weeks left in the high school football season. We got a lot to talk about. He's Andy Shay. How are you, Mr. Shay?
I am doing good, Double E. Are you ready? We got lots to talk about. This was it was a fun week of football. It was fun to get ready for it. It was, kind of cool to cover it. There's some crazy stuff that happened that we can't wait to talk about. It was just so much cool stuff.
It's nice being right, and we're right a lot of the times. But It's also fun to embrace the chaos.
Yes.
This 2020, whatever this season is, forever be known as. It's nice to embrace the chaos, and we had a lot of chaos last week.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So we're gonna get to it. Let's do a quick rundown.
Yeah, let's do it.
Quarter number one, of course, week that was. We're gonna bounce around District 3 and the PIAA start of the playoffs. Talk a couple games here and there, some outcomes. Quarter number two, we're going to say streak the PIAA. Is there teams in a certain classifications that can beat the big bad Whippeals? We know there's a couple favorites in at least two of the classifications. Heavy favorites. They've been heavy favorites for years in those classifications. But there's four other classifications where we think the Whippeal could be in trouble, or at least we find the streakers. Turn them around. So we'll talk about that in quarter number three, or quarter number two. Quarter number three, we got real life players in the house. They're going to join us. A couple of Camp Hill Lions, Max DeLay, the outside linebacker, and of course, quarterback Daniel Schuster will join us. And of course, quarter number four, we raise them up, and we go to our picks and predictions. Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
We'll get to it. All right, Quarter number one of the week that was. Let's start. Where are we gonna start this week?
Let's go to your game because you got to see Governor Mifflin in person. I've only seen him on film. I've only watched him on live stream a couple times, but you got to see him in person. We always knew they were going to beat Mechanicsburg.
Yes.
I kind of figured it would look like this because they've done it to everybody. It was Governor Mifflin 68, Mechanicsburg 14 in Shillington. You were there, so you get to call it.
Remember last week we talked about Gladiator at Central York with the bow, taking them to it. This week, while I'm driving home, I kept thinking of Unstoppable. Remember Denzel and Chris Pine were trying to catch the runaway train?
Yes.
This was that, except they never caught the damn train. Governor Mifflin was just unbelievable. Their running game was as good as advertised. The guys up front were just strong, big, fast. That's a lethal combination for the guys who are playing on the other side. Mechanicsburg really had no answer for this veer attack. Nick Singleton obviously had a wonderful game. He made some spectacular runs, powerful runs. Guys, when you get that initial quick hit, boom, he bounces off. Next thing you know, he's 30 yards downfield. And defensively, Governor Mifflin just gave Mechanicsburg no chance in this game. 68-14. There it was.
Yeah, so not only the Mustangs, they're that good, right? And they have an FBS recruit at running back. They run like 6 freaking plays. They just keep coming at you with those tanks up front. And it's like Coach Boone said, it's like Novocaine. The beer's like Novocaine, right? That is Governor Mifflin in a nutshell. I always knew watching Governor Mifflin on live streams and getting to see Mechanicsburg in person, I always know that there was a matchup disadvantage for the Wildcats. It was up front on both sides of the ball. They were always going to struggle there. You couldn't hide that, right?
No.
And that's what happened. It's just inevitable with Mifflin. And what I'll say is, don't worry about it, Mechanicsburg fans. Your team's pretty resilient, and they'll bounce back, and they'll play well this week. And the other part is Mifflin's done that to everybody. They job smack everybody. So I can't wait to see him at the next level. I'm bummed that we're going to talk about it later, that they're not going to have an opponent in the championship game. But we're going to see what they can do at the PIAA level, and that's enticing.
Exactly. All right, let's move it along. We had a district championship game, District 3 Class 3A. Why missing with your repeat title, another gold medal for the Spartans, 38-16 over Middletown. I think this 1A played out pretty much as we thought it might. I thought a little bit of that Governor Mifflin lean up front. Why missing has those guys up front. It certainly was the biggest team that Middletown faced all year and the strongest team. And that run game, too, that wing tee that Why Missing puts together, it's very, very difficult to defend against. And they've got other elements, too, that they could go to if needed. But defensively was the big key here for Why Missing. Talk a little bit about how they basically handled the running attack and Tamir Jackson for Middletown.
Yeah, so I went to this game. The single takeaway was, it's the fifth straight year they met, right? And this is by far Why Missing's best team in those 5 years. Early on, the first couple years, Middletown just gobsmacked them. It's Why Missing's just bigger, stronger, faster overall. That's it. The Middletown did very little to hurt themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had one turnover. They had no penalties at halftime, and the game was pretty much over. So it was tough for Tony Powell because he finally played quarterback, right? And I'll tell you this about Why Missing. Their defense is the reason I give them any shot at the next levels. Like, to possibly win a state championship, it's not because of the offensive line and all the guys at H-back, the halfbacks and Nadrowski running that ball up the middle, which him in the second level is just fun.
Yeah.
When he gets past the second level, it's almost like he's a straight line runner with athleticism, and guys just like careen off him like poof, poof, poof. But he's extremely athletic for what, 6'2", 240?
Yeah, he's a big guy, yep.
He's a big human being. And they're much more than that defensively. Defensively, they get down the line fast. They're wicked tough, razorback tough up front. Their four linebackers are phenomenal. They cover a lot of ground and a lot of space. Their secondary is very good. That's what stood out to me. Poor Tony Powell's playing his first game of the year, right? Yeah. It's his first game because of injury, and now it's COVID football. And you're facing a defense that is way faster and way better than even Brett Myers, the coach, said. Like, their guys up front and their front 7 or 8 guys were just much faster and got down the line way faster than we even imagined in person. So that was a huge difference. They couldn't run the ball a yard. It's Why Missing's defense that impressed me, despite their offense being very good. And Zach Zekman's very a key to them because he can throw the ball. But, dude, he's a better safety than he is a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, he's a really good safety.
Man, is he a really good safety. Woo!
Really good.
So I don't think Middletown did really anything wrong, and they got beat by 22 points.
Yeah, exactly. All right, another district final. District 3 2A, Camp Hill Lions go to 3-2, and they've got themselves a gold medal, 21-7 over York Catholic. I saw this 1A going the other way. I thought York Catholic would have. We saw a tight game, but
who did I pick?
I think you picked Camp Hill.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, partner. Go ahead.
You have plenty of time to rub that in the fourth.
Go ahead.
But I mean, sometimes we sort of you try to find an angle here,
right?
It kind of gets the separation, and oftentimes in these types of games where you consider them like toss up, it's the one area you don't think of or the one guy you don't think of. Christian Doyle would have probably been a guy that I would not have factored into this game because you look at Daniel Schuster, you look at what your Catholic brings to the table in their rushing attack. But Doyle was a great all-purpose guy in this one. I think he had close to like 130, 140 all-purpose yards.
174.
174, there you go, even more. So Daniel Schuster had 3 TD passes. But defensively, too, we don't talk enough about Camp Hill's defense. And quite honestly, they didn't give us a lot of opportunity to talk about this defense either because it's overshadowed by the big arm of Schuster and that offense. But
I agree.
Lions D stepped up big time here. I mean, holding your Catholic 7 points, you're going to win that football game 9 times out of 10.
So here's the thing. Yeah, let's talk about their defense, right? So they held Steel High to 36, right, before they got the COVID, and then they were beat up, and they were short rostered against Boiling Springs, which didn't make any. They held Steel High to 36. That's not bad, right? But at the time, you're like, that's pretty interesting. Then they turn around and get beat 35-0 by Boiling Springs, and you're like, what the heck happened? That just didn't make any football sense, right? But now, you knew they were short rostered, and they had like 18 or 19 guys that week. Here's the thing. They had an 11-minute drive. Can't put on an 11-minute drive. And here's the crazy part, York Catholic had 34 snaps. That's it. They had 34 snaps. They had 150-some yards of offense.
Yep.
You can't score if you don't have the football. 11-minute drive in the second half. That's like, I want to ask the guys about that in quarter 3. Were you were you ordering subs, from Roberto's and
baking a batch of cookies?
Yeah.
You're doing that 11 minutes.
The last thing you think of Camp Hill is 11-minute drive.
That's right? Exactly right. You don't think of that. You don't think of ball control.
Right.
You think of zing, 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 zing. That's what you think of.
How do you help your defense, who did a good job? You give the other team 30-something snaps in a 48-minute game.
That's right.
21-7, good night, Irene. All right, let's keep moving, This was your game on Saturday. You were up at Cottage Hill. I texted you at one point and said, dude, are you guys going to get done before the sun goes down? What time did the game start?
We were looking at Mercy Rule, but it really was a tale of two halves. I mean, Steel High sort of it was a combination of things. Number one is Steel High sort of rested a little bit on their laurels. They were up 43-16 or 43-14 in this football game.
50-43 final. 50-43.
Right. And it wound up 50-43. It had a lot to do with Muncie just saying, and I talked to, a little bit after, and they just said, listen, we had a good talk at halftime. Essentially, we were not going out like this. We were not, and Muncie played really physical in the second half. They realized they could make some hay in the second against Steel High secondary, which is, don't get me wrong, is good. But they play reckless at times. So they are reckless. Out of position a lot of times. A lot of times they just, it's the old school look at the guy next to you, go, I'm going. And they're like, no, don't go. Play your position.
Right.
That's the things that Steel High has to take a step back and say, listen, if we just play disciplined football, play our assignment, do our jobs, we have the offensive defense to run all the way to Hershey Park. We can get there. But it's that little bit – it's human nature too. And their kids playing a game. You get up big, you just want to go, go, go. And Muncie took advantage of that. And they came back all the way. They had an onside kick there with about 35 seconds to go after they scored. Steel High pounced on it, and the game whittled away the last couple of seconds. But, a couple things in this one. Odell Green continues to be very impressive, the running back. 24 carries, 240 yards and a TD in this one. He really opens up so much for those wideouts who are so good. Damian Hammonds had an unbelievable game in this one. It was like, it was like Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl. I mean, he would catch a ball and there'd be like 30 yards of yak afterwards. He'd make 9 guys miss. 10 catches, 260 yards in this one, 4 touchdowns. He really set the tone in the first half for him. And it's interesting because you look at freshman quarterback Alex Irby and you say he had 6 touchdown passes. He had 422 yards passing. But you know what? He wasn't sharp. He was not sharp at all. This was all about the wide receivers turning bad passes into big plays. Now, he had some very nice passes too, but he had his picked off 3 times that helped Muncie charge back. And he just didn't have a tight spin on the ball for whatever reason. For whatever reason, and it was really perfect conditions too up on the hill on Saturday. So it's nice when your quarterback doesn't have his A game. He's not throwing the ball great, and you still have 422 passing yards. So congrats to Steel High, PIAA first-round win. They move on. They got Old Forge now. They have to travel up to Old Forge, pizza capital of the world. I'm hearing there. Is that correct? Correct? Yeah. So they go up there on Friday night to continue it for the quarterfinals. So good for them. It was a good, fun football game to watch.
But Kai Flowers got hurt, right?
Kai Flowers got hurt, 9:20 left in the game. He kind of came down awkward on an inside slant route, caught the ball, came down awkward, right ankle. It looks he was iced up. Didn't return in the game. It didn't look good, but again, the severity, I'm not sure of it right now.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
But that would definitely be a big loss for them for sure.
All right,
All right. When you need high quality printing that's affordable and completed on a tight deadline, choose Fortney Printing. Fortney Printing has been locally owned and trusted for more than 3 decades. Whether you're a large corporation, client, or team, school, individual with a small job, Fortney Printing will treat you like family. Call or email today for a quote. Mention Fourth Down Magazine, 717-939-6422, or email Adam at Fortney Printing. Fortney Printing, your trusted source for promotional items, printing, and PPE in the Harrisburg area. All right, Andy, let's continue with the week that was. Elko 42, Northern 7. What do you say to this one?
All right, I'm going to say what I want to say and get out of the way because I know you got some stuff to say here. So, dude, Elko coach called timeout 3 times to ice the kicker just before halftime and set up a kick block he knew would work. Like it's the dying seconds, and he called timeout 3 times. I think that's awesome, and it worked. They blocked the kick. They're ahead 14-0. Northern goes on a long drive, going to kick a field goal to cut it 14-3 just seconds before the half. They blocked it. Jake Williams picks it up, goes 80 yards the other way. It's 21-0 halftime. Polar Bears lose 42-7. They lost to Elko and Waynesboro the last 2 weeks by a combined score of 64-7. Exactly. All you, partner.
Those are the 2 numbers that just are baffling to me. Listen, congratulations to Elko. They certainly earned this win and deserved it. But for Northern, you have to – something's just missing here. Something's missing in this program. They're just not prepared to take the next step. Just when they kind of get to that threshold, they retreat. Get to the threshold the last couple of years, they retreat. Now, it's preparation, it's attention to detail, it's all those things. I don't think it's a lack of strength. I don't think it's a lack of skill. There's just something missing there, something they can't kind of flip the switch and get over the hump. You can't lose to Waynesboro and Elko back-to-back by 64-7 combined thing.
Right.
And I kept looking for, say, listen, well, maybe they didn't have a couple of their guys.
Right.
Maybe some guys were out and it's injured and it's stripped. And then I look at the box score and every guy's there. So there's something wrong here. And this was the year. This is a senior-laced team. There's 20-plus seniors on this roster. They all have 3 years minimum experience playing in mid-pen competition. They ought to be able to get to this point. So I don't know what it is. It's either it's lack of preparation, lack of guts. I don't know what it is. But this is This is a really bad stretch for Northern right here. Particularly with their foot on the field.
You can lose a game, right? But you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. You can lose the game. Absolutely. Elko's a worthy
42-7.
Right.
You can't lose 42-7. That means you weren't competitive.
No, that's right.
Exactly. So, all right, let's keep going, E. This one was phenomenal. Oh, this one.
I got a text from you on Saturday.
Right.
Saying Juniat is leading with 7 minutes to go. Now, I obviously was up on the hill, came back, and I'm like, I have to find this stream. I couldn't find it right away. The game was over. I knew who won, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going back and watch it. So I went back, and for the next hour and a half, I watched the entire game on the stream.
I was watching Oil City and Juniata and Hershey and Manheim Central on split screens on my laptop going back and forth, and eventually Hershey and Manheim Central lost because this game was so freaking good.
We have to be, in our day jobs, we have to be objective, but this is a different forum, so I don't have to be objective here.
Right.
Juniata is my new favorite ball club.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that right now. Because not only did they claw their way back from 26-7 down at halftime, okay? Right. Now, Oil City was the most inept special teams play I've ever seen in my life.
It was bad.
From a ranked opponent. Oil City's been right around 5-6 in my rankings all year long, okay? Right. But Juniata just kept clawing back and clawing back and clawing back. They took the lead.
Oil City turned the ball over, too. Special teams were really
terrible. I mean,
really bad. And they turned the ball over, but so what? Juniata was like, bring it on.
It's part of the game. And Juniata, despite Jacob Kondo has wonderful numbers. Caleb Seeger's a playmaker. They got a bunch of playmakers. Yanil Ortiz is a playmaker on that team. They got playmakers. But it's not what you would call a quick strike offense. Okay? but they just coming back. Took the lead, and then they gave up just a bad 87-yard touchdown play to Oil City.
Missed tackle.
Two guys converged, missed tackles. The safety missed a tackle, and it was 3rd and 12 for Oil City.
No, dude.
Indiana was that close to winning. But beside of that, they didn't lay their heads again. They came back, scored with 37 seconds to go, lined up for the PAT to tie it, called the timeout, and brought the offense back on the field to go for the win. Now, it didn't work out. Kondo rolled to his right, and he got wrapped up quick by Lucas DeGroat from Oil City, and that was it. But I'll tell you what, this was a phenomenal effort by Juniata. I had so much fun sitting here in front of my computer watching the live stream and just going, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's playing football. Good for Juniata. Congratulations, Oil City, for moving on. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But, man, I'll tell you, you are lucky to be in the next round of states because Juniata was that close to moving on.
I wrote down here, I'm getting me some Juniata Indians gear.
Absolutely. At minimum, I'm getting Juniata Gator. At minimum.
Because they got big ones, right? You know what I mean? You know, they got football you-know-whats.
Yes.
They were outmatched. They took advantage of mistakes. It's been since, when was it, 2012 when Central Dauphin played the Kodiak Bears?
Yeah.
Out at the Ravens Den again. Remember that?
Yep.
This was that, except Juniata didn't win, right? It was all of that, except Juniata didn't win. I just big one. Love it. All right, keep us going. We're running over, but we don't care.
Couple quick scores here. Warwick 12, New Oxford 14-12 over New Oxford.
Makes sense now.
District 3 5-8 semi. Yeah, there are a lot of guys out, of course, but
COVID.
they got through, and now, of course, they're not going to get through to the next round. A couple of regular season games. Cumberland Valley, good win over Carlisle, 20-14.
Good one.
Surprised a little, eh?
Not when you fumble the ball 3 times and give it Cumberland Valley 3. Cumberland Valley, even when they're struggling, you give them 3 fumbles, they still know what to do with them. They will still punish you for that.
That's right.
So, I mean, Sean Smith still ran for almost 150 yards and had a touchdown, right?
Yes.
Carlisle should win that game, but you can't fumble it away 3 times and give Cumberland Valley second life. Keep going.
That's right. Losing streak's over for Lower Dauphin, 22-17 over Mifflin County.
You could see this coming.
They were working. They were close in a couple of games. They played Hershey well, I thought, in a 20-30 game, which was a lot closer than what the score was. So anyway, moving on. Shippensburg 20, Susquehanna Township 7. I'm a little disappointed in the Indians' offense. I thought they had turned a corner over the last couple of weeks, kind of found a little bit of identity on that side of the ball. Shippensburg said, no way. All right.
That score's right in Ship's wheelhouse, right?
It is right in Ship's wheelhouse.
It's not easy to struggle like they did out of the gate, then find it, and then continue to do it. And they found it.
That's right. West Perry, good win over Waynesboro, 24-18. Your thoughts?
Yeah, crazy Colonial. Crazy. Waynesboro beats Northern, and then West Perry picks up its first win of the year. Congrats to the boys from Elliottsburg. Then they turn around, and they beat that Waynesboro team. I mean, is it crazy Colonial or just 2020 COVID-19? I don't know which one it was, but I like it.
It's funny because the next game, I wrote down this. I know nothing about the Colonial Division. You talk about this one, Andy. Greencastle 23, East Pennsboro 21.
So this one's another crazy one. Then we're going to get out. Blue Devils score when Zach Cole hits Adam Root from 17 yards out with 50 seconds left to make it 21-20, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go for 2. Don't get it. Run fails, right?
Right.
There's 50 seconds left. What do you have to do?
Onside.
They got it. And then they got it and then hit a pass again to Root, got down inside the 10, and then kicked an 18-yard field goal with 9 seconds left to win it. So, go ahead and ask me, E, why did Greencastle win this game? And I'll tell you.
Why did Greencastle win this game?
9 for 15 on 3rd down, 2 for 3 on 4th down. Boom!
Good nuggets, positive nuggets. All right, hey, that'll do it for quarter number 1. Coming up, we're going to steal the Whippeal in a little segment we call Steal the Whippeal. Join us back here quickly. This is High School Football Now with Eric and Andy, presented by 4th Down Magazine. Come on back.
This is High School Football Now, presented by 4th Down Magazine.
All righty, welcome back to High School Football Now. We are presented by 4th Down Magazine. We just got done with quarter number 1 week that was zany week of high school football. We are closing in on the PIAA championships, Andrew. 3 short weeks away. We are down to quarterfinals in PA. A couple of district games still to go for us. Everyone else has sort of moved on, with the exception of the Whippeal. But this kind of came up with this idea. There are, I think we can all agree, based on the historical numbers, recent events, I think we can all agree that there are 2 heavily favored teams to win PIAA titles.
I agree.
2 classifications. I don't want to say they're locked up, because that's not true, and that's why you show up. That's why you play the game.
Correct.
I get that. But as far as being heavily favored, Class 6A with St. Joe's Prep, I mean, currently they're number 3 in the nation.
I was going to say they're top 5 in the country.
Yeah, they're right behind IMG and Houston. Massive, remember the what was the Dallas Carter in Friday Night Lights? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they're bigger than Dallas Carter. So Houston's North Shore is number 2 in the country, and then St. Joe's Prep is 3 in the country. 5 big school titles in PA in the last 7 years, including the last 2 in 6A, both with 20-point wins over District 3 schools in the finals typically in December. They'll happen at the end of this month this year.
Right.
So they obviously are the heavy favorites. They've got the Ohio State-bound quarterback in Kyle McCord, a ton of other parts. So they're clearly the favorite in 6A.
They have good linebackers.
Yeah, their linebackers are pretty good too.
They're ridiculous.
So there you have a big favorite. Same with in 2A with Southern Columbia. Right. I mean, everybody knows the pedigree. Yeah, they've won 3 straight in 2A, 9 overall. Jim Ross been coaching since I don't know, 1930. I don't know when did Jim Ross start coaching. He's got like 430 some wins. One of the all-time best active coaches out there in the country. So they're obviously another huge favorite in 2A. But what we were thinking about, Andy, were the other classifications.
Correct.
And we're calling this Steel and the Whippeal because in those 4 other classifications, there are Whippeal teams that could be perceived, at least according to my rankings,
as favorites.
Would be favorites. Okay. Yeah. So which programs we want to try to identify which of the other quarterfinalists could potentially steal that title away from the Whippeal favorites. So let's start in 5A. We know we already have one semifinalist. We know, unfortunately, Monday afternoon, we had the unfortunate news come down from Warwick that they will need to forfeit the District 3 5A championship game to Governor Mifflin. That would have been, in my estimation, a whale of a football game.
That would have been both teams at full strength and healthy. That's a Donnybrook.
That's a Donnybrook, and that's
that game doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen all the time, but that's one time the district universe kind of came together and put the 2 best 5A schools, got them in the final. That would have been a sensational matchup to watch.
That would have been
I think even though I think Governor Mifflin probably had to be a slight favorite based off what we saw the week before.
Still want to see him play the game.
But I want to see him play the game.
Still want to see them play the game.
So you've got a Whippeal championship going on Friday between Pine Richland, the number 1 team in the state, and Peters Township. Those guys are perceived to sort of make it. But here's the interesting thing about 5A. Our D3 team goes. So you've got a Governor Mifflin team that is now in the semifinals, the newly crowned district champion, and they've got to hitch their wagon and go west to play the Whippeal. So to me, my only thought is if someone's going to steal this title from the Whippeal, it's going to be Governor Mifflin. What do you think?
It's a man, oh man, it feels like a box of chocolates for me. Here's what I think. I just think everybody needs to see Nick Singleton on statewide TV show his goods. He's generally regarded as the best running back in Pennsylvania, right? And he's at a level at a junior right now that sort of reminds me a little bit of somebody who, if you want to go back 15 years or so, that would be what's considered the greatest running back in the last 20 years in Pennsylvania, and that's LaShawn McCoy, Shady, right? He's the gold standard at running back. Nick is in that category. Governor Mifflin's runs the veer, and they run it like Novocaine. I just think Pine, Richland, and Peters Township, it's no picnic. I don't know. I'm not convicted. All I know is that Mifflin creams everybody, right? They cream everybody. They're not going to get to play Warwick and get a full metal jacket test. Is that going to hurt them in this matchup? Because
Right.
Pine, Richland, and Peters Township are going to play each other. So
Good
that
point.
is where I have a problem, but I know they cream everybody. They ain't creaming those two teams. I can tell you that right now. But I think they can possibly beat them, but I just think it would be cool to see Nick Singleton on TV in the state championship.
Yeah, and the thing that too you mentioned, Shady. There is obviously a decided running style difference between those two. To me, everybody does a comp when you go in the combines, you get a comp to a pro guy, and to me, after watching Nick Singleton, you think Derrick Henry. He's a big body. He runs hard. He's going to lower his head if he wants to, or he's going to bounce outside and beat you with his speed. But he is tremendous. And again, that is a complete football team. Pine Richland is certainly in that category. And you mentioned the fact that they have to play Peters Township yet and get by Peters Township,
right. That's tough.
Which is not a given.
No,
but they've played a very good schedule, so they've seen strong teams. And Governor Mifflin, whatever strong team they've seen, they've just steamrolled them. Right. So that'll be that to me should be the championship game.
Right.
Whatever those teams are. Right. So all right, anyway, let's move on to 4A. We got our quarterfinalists set. Of course, we got our District 3 finals to come up to Elko visiting Lampeter Strasburg, who I've been very high on all year long. I still think they're the best team in District 3 and 4A. I know McDevitt did not get a chance to kind of enter the playoffs, and maybe we would have got that matchup, but I still believe Lampeter Strasburg is the toast of District 3. So is there a team out there? Is there a team out there that can kind of take it from either Aliquippa or TJ, which are playing for the Whitfield title?
So I'm hearing you thinking LS is possibly a fly in the ointment. I don't see it. Although if it's Aliquippa, they don't. If LS could be that team that could be a fly in the ointment. Maybe if it's against Aliquippa, because Aliquippa kind of struggles a little bit in Hershey. They don't bring their best to Hershey, even when they have more than the other, right? They struggle to do that at times. But,
a little bit of Featherstone, yeah.
Yeah, I just see it either TJ or Aliquippa going all the way. I just can't see it any other way, and I think LS. The only way that LS is the right call by you, right? That's a good call, and I do agree with that. But I think they need help from the other team. You're not going to get help from TJ. If it's TJ, they're not going to help you. Aliquippa's the maybe.
What's interesting to me is the fact that, you still have a Jersey Shore team out there who is ranked the one in the state, very strong. But athletic-wise, I think LS actually matches up better with an Aliquippa or a TJ. They have a better potential to sort of get those two teams out of their comfort zone. Aliquippa's gonna blast away at you. They always have size. They always have big guys down front, and they just lean on you. TJ's a little bit more balanced, I believe.
They are.
So I think whoever comes out of that is obviously going to be the favorite. And LS is, if they get by Elko, I think they're pretty well equipped to take on Jersey Shore. Remember, 4A here stays east. So they would take on Jersey Shore potentially in the semifinals.
All right,
real quick. Hey, Class 3A here. Obviously, we've got Central Valley, who's been the number one team preseason on. They look really, really good and unstoppable. Again, maybe the hopes in stealing that from the Whitfield rests with the District 3 champion.
It does rest with the District 3 champion. This is all about Central Valley and Wyomissing. They're two kind of different teams. I mean, obviously, they're both very good. The Spartans have power, and they have plenty of size and some speed mixed in. Central Valley is just fast, right? They are very dynamic. To me, this is about Wyomissing's defense. I still say Central Valley is a team to beat. I think it's a tough matchup in spots for Wyomissing, and it comes down a lot to Zach Zekman. But I think Wyomissing is the team to take them down. But I don't see Wyomissing doing it. I see Central Valley as winning the state championship, but I think Wyomissing's the right matchup.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I think what I'm missing is the right matchup, and it's something the ball control offense, which we know the Spartans can do.
They can.
That's something that Central Valley is used to dictating tempo and playing in their own style. To get them off of that, I think you need a team like Weill. Weill can be very frustrating. Not only are they successful running against you, it's frustrating to play that football team from start to finish. And Central Valley has not had a frustrating game all season long. So, all right, one more Class A. It's single A. Steel High Rollers still alive. They got to get by Old Forge first and foremost. Get this one. But the Whitfield Championship between Clareton and Jeanette was a barn burner the first time around the regular season, and the same thing is expected come Friday night.
Yeah, I think it's the Whitfield here. You're looking at out of the East, you're looking at Steel High or probably maybe even Bishop Guilfoyle, right? If they can get by Old Forge. They're like two dynamically different teams, right? You'd like to take certain elements of Steel High, certain elements of Bishop Guilfoyle, blend them together, and then play either the Bears or Jeanette, right?
That's right.
That would be the ideal matchup. You're either going to get one or the other, and the Rollers are have more better equipped elements, but they also have more self-destructive tendencies. That's the problem when you play against Clareton or Jeanette. So
yeah, you hope the upside stays up. Absolutely, if you're Steel High.
I mean, Bishop Guilfoyle wants to drag you into a sandbox.
They do. They have something to prove, too. They were not happy about how the season started for them. They had to give up that forfeit for an ineligible player early in the year. So they think that they belong. So that matchup, if Steel High would get by Old Forge, would happen next week. By the way, it would happen back at Steelton in a semifinal. So that's important to note. All right, hey, that'll do it for quarter number 2. Coming up, boom, we got a couple of Camp Hill Lions in the house. Max DeLay and Daniel Schuster will join us. This is High School Football Now with Eric and Andy, sponsored by Fourth Down Magazine. We'll be right back.
This is High School Football Now, presented by Fourth Down Magazine.
All right, welcome back to High School Football Now. We're presented by Fourth Down Magazine. You can find us on the Big Player, Small Play app. And, of course, it is quarter number 3. We hope you enjoyed that look at stealing the Whitfield as the PIAA playoffs rage on. Right now, though, we got a couple of Camp Hill Lions in the house. Mr. Shay, who do we have?
Oh, you hit me quick. I wasn't ready. Ooh. All right. Number 30 or number 58 or number 45, and you're going to need to explain that to us more, Max. That is the official numbers in your District 3 football online program for the Camp Hill roster for 5'9", 175-pound senior guard, running back, middle linebacker, Max DeLay. Max is averaging double digits in tackles for the Lions, and he has more than 15 tackles for a loss and sacks combined. Number 5 in your Camp Hill Lions official online District 3 football program. By the way, if you haven't gone online and checked out the program, it's really cool. Go find it online on the District 3 website. Under football, they have all the teams, pictures, brackets. It's very well done. Number 5 on Camp Hill's roster, 6'1", 185-pound senior quarterback, free safety, and your kicker, Daniel Schuster. He is, as a quarterback this year, he's 64 for 116, 1,256 yards. Ladies and gentlemen, that's in 5 games. He's got 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He kicked all 3 extra points as the Lions won the District 3 Class 2A championship game. We hadn't said that yet. Congratulations, gentlemen, on winning the District 3 championship. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. All right, E, go ahead. Fire it up.
All right, guys, Max and Daniel, again, congratulations on last week. I wanted to say, can you sort of wrap your head around winning a district title? I know it's a weird year, and normally you're 9-1 or 9-2 when you're going and play a championship game. You guys are now 3-2 and district champions. What was it like last week?
Really the big thing for us is every week we're 0-0. We don't look at it as a winning record, losing record. So we want to beat the team that we're playing that week. So every week, new mentality, come out. We want to win. We want to win by a lot. Don't want to win by a little bit, like a couple games. Dominate, really.
I think the whole thing for us was, regular season, we had a lot of good teams on the schedule. But I think we all had the mindset that if we could just somehow get into playoffs, then we'd be able to pull it off. So we made that happen.
Daniel, I'll stick with you. You had the start to the season, then you had to stop again, started back up. How difficult was that for you guys, maybe personally and as the team? Because you really, when you shut down, it's not like you guys are getting together at the weight room at 6 a.m. and continuing the season and do that sort of rhythm and get that vibe going that you get during a typical season. So how tough was it for you?
I think it was definitely challenging, but I mean, for us Camp Hill kids, we've all grown up with each other and played with each other throughout the years. So, I mean, even in the summer when we weren't having scheduled practices, guys were getting together, we were throwing, and the chemistry's kind of just been there for years. So it was definitely difficult when we had to have that bye week we were supposed to play in Middletown, but then that got canceled. So I think we had a lot of momentum going in that game, and that kind of set us back a little bit. But I think we're picking things up where we were.
Max, does it? You mentioned losing the game to Middletown. Obviously, that's one of the big rivalry games for you guys. And when you lose a game, it's difficult. But losing a sort of quote unquote rivalry game, is that worse, or is it just? Do you feel like, hey, any chance to play football and losing that opportunity is bad?
Yeah, honestly, I just wanted to play football. I mean, my whole goal was a district championship going into the summer, so even I knew we still had a chance losing that game. So, I was trying to think about the positive. We still have a chance of playing the district championship. Let's just keep working as a team, come back with only 2 days of practice before we play one of the toughest teams we played all year, Steel High. But we all worked together. We got in those 2 days, and we got a lot done. 2 good practices.
Hey, Max, I wanted to ask you real quick. You guys have numbers aren't your ally, right? At Camp Hill. Never have been, never will be. You have 28 guys on your official roster this year. I know when you guys lost to Boiling Springs, you were down below 20. You had like 18 guys that were available that week. Did you have your full complement for the game against York Catholic? Or in a typical week, how many guys did you have available of the 28 guys on your roster? Because you're always fighting numbers.
Yeah, every practice, it's kind of tough to get offense and defense on it. Scout team, we would be missing a guy or two, but, sometimes the coaches would fill in. They weren't scared of getting hit either. So they would fill in, and we wouldn't we wouldn't go easy on them either. They would look at them as another player in that standpoint. Being from Camp Hill and not having a lot of people, but I've played with most of these guys since I was in 7th grade. So, we all know each other like more than other teams that have 58 players.
Are coaches filling in at skill positions only? Please tell me yes. Or are they getting down in? They're only going skill positions, right?
Sometimes linebackers. they just stand there. We run by them usually.
That's a great story. So I wanted to ask you, Daniel. Okay, so this is for you. Your brother. You now matched your brother. He won a district championship as well as a quarterback at Camp Hill. Did you ever look at his medal?
I mean, yeah, definitely. When I was younger, I mean, when I would go to those district championship games, that was definitely something that I was looking forward to, and I definitely wanted that feeling too.
So I have a follow-up question for you. Have they changed the medals? Is yours different than his, or are they the exact same thing?
I don't think so. I know he still got his hanging up in his room, so I could go take a look.
I was just asking.
They're probably still the same. I mean, come on.
I'm thinking they're the same, but I figured I'd ask. It's right in the same house, right, brother?
And listen, I like the district guys and all that, but that trophy has to change, man.
That trophy's got to change.
You got to get something vertical. It's not even cool if you take it out with you. I mean, yeah, you're champions, but it's just I don't know.
Don't you think it's become it's kind of like a bulldog? It's sort of iconically ugly.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, Camp Hill's got another one. That's the 10th one in school history, by the way. Go ahead, E.
Daniel, I wanted to follow up on Andy's question too about your bro. Does he evaluate you? Does he evaluate your performances?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this year it's been because my dad, he's the statistician on the team now, so he's always on the sidelines. So my brother will be watching the live streams, and my dad will come up to me when I'm on the sideline, and my brother's got things to say to me, especially after the game too. So he's definitely always in my ear.
See, you get to pull. For those who don't know, Michael Schuster, obviously two district titles, correct? At Camp Hill, and then went on to Penn State after he burned Harbaugh first, which was nice. It's a great move. Anyway, yeah, it's always tough. I mean, you got a bigger brother and is playing the same position. You know, you're following that shadow, and sometimes it's difficult to play your way out of it. But you certainly have done it. So,
hey, can I ask the next one, E?
Yes, go right
ahead.
ahead.
One more. I want to get one more good one, and this is for both of you. You can start, Max, if you want. I got to know about the almost 11-minute drive against York Catholic in the second half. Like, you held the ball for almost 11 minutes. Like, if you to give me, say, okay, Andy, you can pick 20 teams in the mid-pen who would have between 10 and 11-minute drive, right? I'll give you 20 guesses. No way would I ever pick Camp Hill in the first 20 because it's just not sort of your MO. But was that sort of a game plan thing, or did it just happen that you were like, hey, we're rolling them. But 11 minutes is like, that's Cumberland Valley-like, that's Central Dauphin-like. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they do. They hog the football from you. Greencastle likes to do it, right? They like to run the ball and hog it. But Camp Hill, that's not sort of your MO. But I want some details about the 11-minute drive. Were you huddling because you don't generally huddle? Give me some inside, Max.
But yeah, I mean, I'm mainly defense. I love my defense, and I'm used to every game. I'm always out on defense, you know. And this was the first week back, me on the line, and we moved Grant Baeza onto the line. And, you know, we had younger kids on the line during the earlier games because some kids were out, injured.
Right.
So with the new line, I mean, it went from Daniel having 3 seconds in the pocket to him having 8 to 12, which helped him a lot to find everybody. And we could finally run the ball. Like, we have not been able to run the ball a lot this year. So that game, we were getting it rolling. You know, we just felt it. We felt a vibe with the whole team just going down. I didn't even realize it was that long until I looked up at the clock, and I was like, oh, my God, we just ran that ball for that long. But, you know, that's what we've been wanting to do for the whole year, you know, control the ball, stay out of defense, and then make those drives happen that we score. And that one drive was, I mean, that's exactly how we wanted to do it. We didn't plan it, but that's exactly what we wanted it to happen.
I mean, Daniel, you look at it on the flip side, your defense played well, and it was a big game, but poor York Catholic only had 32 snaps. You get 32 snaps in a high school game, you better be making some serious hay. How much of an impact did that have on that game, holding the ball for that long? And do you know how many plays it was, or do you have any idea?
I mean, I have no clue. I just knew that, I mean, coming out of halftime, it was 7-7.
Right.
But we definitely felt like we were in control of that game. We thought that we should have been up more, and I think we just kind of wanted to run the clock down because we knew if it came down to it that we were the better team and that we would come out on top. So once we started just putting that drive together, we were running the ball well, we were throwing it well. I mean, I wasn't forcing passes, and we were just driving our way down the field. And when that play clock came, I just wanted to keep on down because even if it was only fourth, I just wanted to play.
Alrighty.
I think we're losing Daniel here a little bit, but Max, I'll give you this question before Daniel gets back. We talked about not being a big roster, but it's a very senior laden roster. I mean, how much is all that experience and all that football you guys playing into this season?
I mean, it's everything. I know these kids, so they know if I get up in their face and I yell at them because they know it's because I want them to do better. I want them to be better. It's not coming out of any place of hatred or anything. So, I mean, senior this year, all these seniors stepping up and playing these spots where they don't want to, where we need them, coming to these practices and getting these younger guys. That was the biggest part.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We're going to put you on the hot seat. It is time to put Daniel and Max on the Fourth Down Magazine. High school football now. Hot seat. I'm going to start with you, Daniel. First question, cake or pie?
Pie.
Max?
Cake.
Sticking with you, Max. What's your go-to song right now? The go-to song that you listen to on your playlist? Max?
42.
Daniel?
Devil in a New Dress, Kanye West.
Nice. Look at Epler laughing. All right, sticking with you, Daniel. College football on Saturday or NFL football on Sunday? Which one?
Usually I'm college football, but this year I gotta go NFL.
All right, Max. College on Saturday or NFL on Sunday?
College all the way.
College all the way. Any person, dead or alive, you'd want to have lunch with, Max, starting with you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you. Anybody, dead or alive?
Anybody? Let's say Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, nice. Yeah. I expect that from the quarterback. Daniel, anybody, dead or alive, you'd want to have lunch with?
Terry Bradshaw, Steelers fan.
Nice. All right, I just got to say back. That's a pretty good one. Isn't that a good one, E?
That's a good one, yeah.
All right, sticking with you, Daniel, your favorite high school football uniform and helmet combination that is not yours. Whose do you like? Not ours. Somebody else's you like.
I hate to say it, but Trinity's got clean jerseys. I hate to say it.
They do. I know you hate them. You can't tell. It's hard. It's almost like an antacid tablet on your tongue. It's like
I know.
I get it. We get it. But they are a clean look. The white is a clean look.
It is.
Helmets. All right, Max. Who's yours?
I like Harrisburg.
Harrisburg.
Yeah.
Which ones? Do you like the all black or do you like the combo?
The all black.
The all blacks, of course. That's almost like classic, right? E? All right, last question. Start with you, Max. Give me your go-to order at Sheets.
I gotta get the app samples. Mac and cheese bites, buffalo nuggets, mozzarella sticks.
Nice.
All right, Daniel, what's your go-to order at Sheets?
Definitely the buffalo nuggets and a milkshake.
Nice.
All right, E, take us out.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate your time. Tell Coach Bigelow we said thank you for letting us have you here for a few minutes. Best of luck. Congratulations, first of all, again, the District 3 champion. Best of luck this week against Bishop McDevitt, the Philadelphia version. You guys are hosting them Friday night at Seabrook Park. We wish you the best of luck and continued success during the PIAA playoffs. Thanks again.
Thank
you very much.
All right, coming up in quarter number 4, it is our picks and predictions. This is High School Football Now with Eric and Andy, sponsored by Fourth Down Magazine. Come on back.
This is High School Football Now, presented by Fourth Down Magazine.
Welcome back to High School Football Now with Eric and Andy. We are presented by Fourth Down Magazine and hosted by the engaging small player big play app. Our picks and predictions, quarter number 4. Of course, are sponsored by crowntrophy.com. Sponsored by Crown Trophy. Go to crowntrophy.com for all your trophy needs. All right, let's give an update from last week on the chase for the Scheffler Cup, which I currently hold as the champion. I, Mr. Epler, was 11-1 last week.
Ooh.
And guess what? You were not.
It's not
11-1 last week. You were 8-4. I am now 58-13 overall. You are 51-20. You are 7 games behind.
It's all gonna change this. It's all gonna change this week. You know why? Sushi makes everything better. It makes my mind clear. And I just bought my own sushi making kit.
All right, here we go. Let's fire it up. Still got 7-0. They're going to go to Old Forge, who is 5-0. This is a PIAA 1A quarterfinal game at 7 o'clock Friday night at the Devil's Den, a.k.a. Veterans Memorial Stadium in Old Forge, Pennsylvania. What do you think, E?
It is safe to say that the Blue Devils are not facing offense like the Rollers have. Plus, I think there's a tendency to walk into this class rather nonchalant. I know it's a state playoff game and you shouldn't be there, but the walkover over Bristol last week just doesn't get you ready. It doesn't really help you for what's coming. The entire schedule for the Blue Devils hasn't really been great. I've talked to a couple guys up there. It's a good football team, don't get me wrong. And Colin Holtzman's got 9.3 yards of carry. He's their bread and butter on offense. So Steel High has to watch out, particularly for first down. They don't get themselves in short yardage situations. If they can man that part of it, Steel High should win this football game. I don't know about a margin, but I think if Steel High just focuses on what they need to do. They've got all the parts to play the part. They've got all the parts to win this football game. So I will take Steel High.
I'm going to take the Rollers as well. So Muncie had the Cannons to fire back last week, right? I mean, after the Rollers dropped a 36-7 sprint to halftime on them,
yep.
After Steel High fell behind 7-0 in like a snap.
Right.
So they punched back. I was digging for scraps to tell me that Old Forge can fire back like Muncie did. I just couldn't find them. I wonder about Steel High and the scoreboard sometimes, 36-14 at halftime. That is not a mercy rule. That is not a running clock, and the game is not over.
Right.
That's what a little bit that has me concerned. You could say, well, what about their defense and all that? No, I think it's looking at the scoreboard and thinking the game's over. The game's not over. It has to be in a mercy rule because then the clock runs, or otherwise keep your foot on the gas, but I'm going to stick with the Rollers. All right. Bishop McDevitt Wyncote 4-0 is going to come to Siebert Park and play Camp Hill 3-2. This is a PIAA 2A quarterfinal, 7 o'clock Friday night. Weirdy. PIAA quarterfinal, and combine these two teams have played 9 games.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Right. I mean, the Lancers really have a really good schedule. They played a really good schedule. They dumped Dunmore last week, 47-7.
Yeah.
Huge surprise margin of the outcome.
Oof, that's a
surprise. And remember, this is a team, too, that played Archbishop Wood fairly tough in the opener. They did lose by 21 points, but it's a 5A school in Archbishop Wood, which is a traditional powerhouse. Yes, it's a down year for the Vikings, but still, it's a 2A going against a 5A, one of the perennial favorites in big school football in Wood. So the Lancers have done everything well, pretty much, 4-0. Last year, remember, it was Lonnie Rice taking over. Yep. He's now a freshman outside linebacker at Buffalo, so it's a new cast. But they've got some athletes there, and they've got a chance to put up a lot of points against Camp Hill. This is another huge test for Camp Hill's defense. We just talked to Max DeLay and how they've been really, really impressive at times. But this is a team that's going to put up some points. This could be an absolute shootout here. I'm going to take Bishop McDevitt. I know they haven't played a ton of football, but neither has Camp Hill. Like you mentioned, there's only 9 games between these two teams. So I'm going to take Bishop McDevitt, and I think this could be maybe one of those first ones to 38, 42 kind of deals.
So I'm going to take McDevitt Wyncote as well. So I'd say overall Camp Hill's coming off its best game of the season, right?
Yes.
Overall, particularly on defense. They finally had all the live bodies together and all the healthy bodies battling the COVID and injuries and start and stop on a short roster. They got everything together and played well. They're not shy about getting in a firefight, though, right? Even though they kind of want it, they don't mind grinding it out and slugging it out. They're also not shy about getting in a firefight. And to me, it feels like their best crack in this one is Daniel Schuster throwing it all over the lot again.
Yep.
It might not be their preference, but it also might be their best crack.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, the District 5A finally, Warwick and Governor Mifflin not going to have it. COVID-19 is my pick.
I'm going to pick Mifflin 1-0. That's my prediction.
It ticks me off we're not going to get that game, but it had to happen. Warwick made the right decision. The athletic director made the right decision.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah, their school went to virtual only. He has to shut it down. All right, Elko is 7-0. They're going to play Lampeter Strasburg, who is 8-0. This is for the District 3 4A final, Friday night at 7 o'clock in Lampeter. Interesting, E.
Yeah, I don't know if Elko's going to get 2 100-yard rushers like they did last week against Northern. And they damn near had 3. And Jake Williams.
They damn near had 3, yeah.
Or Luke Williams almost joined the 100-yard club in this one. We're both big believers of Braden Bohannon. He is an excellent, excellent pilot for this offense. But I've had the LS high on this list all year long. I still think they're the best 5A or 4A school that we have in the district. So I will take LS in this one, but this one could be combustible. I mean, absolutely combustible, because Elko is not going to be denied points. They are going to score in this football game.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe it's one of these 52-42 games, but this one could be loud.
So I'm going to take the Pioneers because all they do is score 40-plus points.
It's
right?
true.
They played slightly better competition, and they wiped the floor with them, right? They just do. And they're I think they're a little bit of a heavy-footed favorite here because of the diversity of their offense. They just have to make Elko pass. That's not easy. Elko will play with 0 passes. But I think if they can just make Elko pass a little bit and get them off their mark on second down, they could win this game going away because they're going to get points, but it is combustible. You are exactly right. All right. This is the District 3 1A final game. It's the last game of the season for both teams because District 11 is not going into the state playoff. This is at Stauffenberg Field in Williamstown. It's Tri-Valley that's 5-1 against 8-1 Williams Valley. This is football nirvana, E.
This is the great best. Behind the tall pines, as our boy Mike Bullock would say. Yeah, these are 2 former Tri-Valley League juggernauts who left and skipped town to the Schuylkill League, causing –
Second meeting of the year.
Yeah, it's the second meeting. They played again. They played earlier to a 35-28 Williams Valley victory. You got 2 really good fun quarterbacks to watch. Bryce Herb for Williams Valley, Jonas McGrath, who, by the way, threw 4 interceptions in that game. In the first one, they still only lost by 7 points. So I usually, especially when you're talking small football, it's Stauffenberg. I usually do not go against Coach Tim Savage and the boys, but I will take Tri-Valley to go walk in and upset Williams Valley in this one.
Okay, I'm going to take Williams Valley. COVID-19 be damned, E. It doesn't get any better than the Vikings and the Bulldogs in between the pines at Stauffenberg in Williamstown on a Friday night with the District 11 title on the line. Plus, the weather's been dry. So that means the non-paved parking areas are going to be user-friendly. It doesn't get any better than that. This is it, lads. This is your last game. The first one was a doozy. Enjoy round 2. These 2 teams respect each other, but deep down they really, 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 really don't like each other even a little bit. So enjoy this one, and I'm going to take Williams Valley. All right, few more before we get out. Let's get some regular season games in. Now that we've got all the playoff games in. All right, Bishop McDevitt at Hershey. Hershey just got coming off its first loss of the year against Manheim Central. Played a pretty good football game. Couldn't get off the field on third down. Friday night, 7 o'clock, Concrete Palace.
I think the big consolation prize for Bishop McDevitt here will be the Keystone Division title. This game will decide it. I'll take Bishop McDevitt. They have an axe to grind. They're still ticked off. I don't blame them for being ticked off by missing the District 3 playoffs. And I think it shows here. I think they'll have a big offensive performance.
Yeah, I'll take Bishop McDevitt as well. The key for Hershey will be getting off the field on third down. They couldn't do it second half against Manheim Central, and that's why they lost. Hershey's good against the run, but they're going to have to be really, really good against the pass, and I'm not so sure they're up for that. Carlisle's going to go to Eldon Retu Stadium down in Lancaster County to play Manheim Central.
I look for Carlisle to bounce back. I know they lost to Cumberland Valley last week. I know Manheim Central got a win against Hershey, so you would figure the team's going the opposite way. But I like Carlisle. I think they've made great strides this season, and I think they'll be up for this challenge. Again, the season's winding down. There's not too much more opportunities to play football, not too many minutes left in the season. So I think they'll take advantage. I like Carlisle.
I'm going to take Manheim Central. The Barons, they're not powerful, right? And they give up some points. Their defense is not that good. I think Carlisle will make some hay. I just like Manheim Central. I think they have a little more balance. And I think they've played good competition, and that balance on their offense is starting to show through. All right, Cumberland Valley is going to play Cedar Cliff Friday night at West Shore Stadium.
Both teams picked up momentum last week. Cedar Cliff win over rival sister school Redland. Cumberland Valley, of course, beating Carlisle, which was a big win for them. I'm going to stick with the home team here. I'm going to stick with Cedar Cliff. I think they're getting a little bit healthier. I think their mindset's right. And even though Cumberland Valley's coming off that big win, I'm going to take Cedar Cliff.
Man, I want to pick CV. I want to pick CV here. It feels like
you should. You got a 13-game leading 13, whatever it is.
Cedar Cliff likes to show up in big games, but they've struggled defensively. I'm picking the Eagles. Give me Cumberland Valley. All right, East Pittsburgh, Chambersburg, Friday night, 7 p.m. at beautiful Trojan Stadium.
I just have again, we talked so much about the Wacky Colonial. What happened last week. Chambersburg played very well against State College, just came up a little bit short.
Right.
I will take Chambersburg.
Yeah, everything about it, because it's a crazy colonial team. You say, pick East Pennsboro. They'll win the game. But I'm going to pick Chambersburg as well. All right, last one before we get out. Mechanicsburg at CDs Friday night at the Speedway.
Yeah, I like the message from Coach Rose after that game with Governor Mifflin.
Yeah, they do this to everybody.
Woodshed is very frustrating. It hasn't been a lot of frustration for Mechanicsburg until that game against Governor Mifflin. I think they'll bounce back pretty well here. And CD East is still struggling offensively to get anything going. So I'll take the Wildcats.
I will take the Wildcats as well. I just don't think they're going to be mentally wounded by giving up north of 60 to Governor Mifflin. They just won't. So yeah, I'll take the Wildcats as well. All right, that's it, partner.
All right, that does it for this edition of High School Football Now with Eric and Andy. We are presented by Fourth Down Magazine and the proud folks at Small Player Big Play app. That's where you can find us each week and, of course, on YouTube as well. Special thanks to Camp Hill's Daniel Schuster and Max DeLay. Those guys got a big game coming up Friday night at Seabird Park. The Lions are going to host the Class 2A quarterfinal against Bishop McDevitt Wingcoat at 7 p.m. Check it out. Thanks, partner, for joining me this week.
Thank you, partner.
And we'll see everybody next week. If you can, get out and watch some football. If not, enjoy it on the stream.
See ya.